What are the last words a convicted criminal chooses to speak before passing away? Will they beg for forgiveness and express how much they'll miss their family? Most presumably do. Others, however, have different opinions. Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Today we'll be looking at the disturbing last words of corrupt cops on death row. Yeah, you heard it right. Number 1. Jimmy Glass, 1987, Louisiana. Last words, I'd rather be fishing. Jimmy Glass, 20, and Jimmy Wingo, a prisoner, escaped from jail on Christmas Day 1982 and murdered an elderly couple while burglarizing their home. Both accused the other of the crime and both were sentenced to death by electrocution. Number 2. Jeffrey David Matthews, 2011, Oklahoma. Last words, I think that the governor's phone is broke. He hadn't called yet. The execution of Jeffrey David Matthews was postponed 3 times, twice by the governor of Oklahoma in order to further investigate his claims of innocence, and once due to controversy surrounding the medications that were to be administered to him. Matthews was charged with murdering his great uncle, Otis Earl Short, in 1994 after he and an accomplice plundered his residence. Short's wife survived despite being shot in the back of the skull and having her throat slashed by Matthews. Number 3. Barbara Graham, 1955, California. Last words, good people are always so sure they're right. After a difficult upbringing and several unsuccessful marriages, Barbara Graham turned to prostitution before marrying a bartender and drug addict. She soon left him for Emmett Perkins, a business associate of his who operated an illegal gambling operation. The couple, along with their accomplices, decided to rob a widow whose residence was rumored to contain a large amount of cash. Graham convinced her to let them into her residence by requesting to use her phone. To halt the elderly woman's screams, she killed her by striking her with her pistol. The crew overlooked the cash and the jewelry and was apprehended a few months later after someone spilled. As the media dubbed her, Bloody Babs was sentenced to the gas chamber. Number 4. George Appel, 1928, New York. Last words, well gentlemen, you're about to see a baked Appel. George Appel abruptly found the situation humorous as he was being strapped to the electric chair and uttered these infamous last words. These words soon became more well known than his actual offense. Although little is known about this homicide, he was convicted of first-degree murder for killing a police officer and sentenced to life in prison. Number 5. James Lewis Jackson, 2007, Texas. Last words, Warden, murder me. He then referred to Harris County, where he was convicted, as Sodom and Gomorrah, the biblical cities destroyed by God for their sins. I'm ready to roll. Time to get this party started. James Lewis Jackson married Sharon Jackson in 1995 and became the stepfather of 2 daughters. Due to his heavy drug use, he had difficulty maintaining employment. After struggling with his marriage and receiving a divorce threat from his wife, he strangled her and her 2 daughters. Number 6. Robert Charles Towery, 2012, Arizona. Last words, I love my family, potato, potato, potato. Ironically, Robert Charles Towery was executed by lethal injection, as he was charged with injecting battery acid into his victim before strangling him to death in a 1991 robbery. The victim was a philanthropist who frequently lent Towery money and employed him as a mechanic. Towery apologized to the victim's family and cursed his errors in his final moments. The reference to potatoes was a coded message to his nephew. It is a sound a Harley-Davidson motorcycle produces when the engine is idling, and it signified that everything was fine. Number 7. George Engel, 1887, Illinois. Last words, hurrah for anarchy. This is the happiest moment of my life. German immigrant George Engel lost trust in the political system and joined the International Working People's Association. 7 people were killed when a bomb was hurled at the police during a large anarchist and labor activist rally in 1886. Even though nobody knew who hurled it and Engel was at home playing cards, he was found guilty of the murder and executed it. Number 8. Eileen Wuornos, 2002, Florida. Last words, yes, I would just like to say I'm sailing with the Rock and I'll be back like Independence Day with Jesus, June 6th, like the movie, big mothership and all. I'll be back, I'll be back. Eileen Wuornos' adolescence was troubled, and her father was a child molester who hanged himself in prison, and her mother abandoned her to care for her grandparents. By age 12, she was using narcotics and engaging in sexual activity. She eventually became a courtesan. She began her killing spree in 1989, murdering 7 men. She claimed that she murdered them in self-defense, but she was ultimately sentenced to be executed by lethal injection. The film Monster is based on her biography. Number 9. James French, 1966, Oklahoma. Last words, how about this for a headline for tomorrow's paper? French fries. James French assassinated the driver who picked him up while hitchhiking in 1958. While serving a life sentence, He determined he no longer wanted to live, but lacked the courage to take his own life. Consequently, he murdered a prisoner to force the state to execute him by electric chair. So that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so that you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section down below. Stay tuned, and we'll catch you in the next video.